Hey everybody, welcome back to Clear Mind Cali Vibe. Today's gonna be a good one. Hey everybody, today I want to talk about something a little different. Of course, start out with the ordinary regular disclaimers. I'm not a doctor and I don't provide legal advice. Anything I say here is for educational purposes only. Of course, if you're feeling depressed or you feel the need to use a substance or misuse of substance rather, reach out for help, for professional help. It's very important to keep those things in mind while we go through these subjects and the subject matter. And another thing to discuss is everybody's journey is going to be a little different when it comes to recovery, right? So abstinence only is very important for some people, and programs as well. AA, let's talk about that for a minute. AA has been a great program for millions of people for years, and it absolutely works. Can't say anything bad about the program. However, people like me and others, kind of the whole spiritual God vibe thing and holding hands at the end of the meeting feels a bit churchy. And then on top of that, there's an aspect of saying that you're powerless over a substance. And so in my personal belief, and this is for me only, I believe that I do have power over that substance. And that's why programs like Smart Recovery and the California Sober Method, things that are more geared towards a scientific approach, work for people like me and others. So just keep that in mind, that your recovery is yours and yours alone. What that means to you and what that means to someone else are completely separate. Okay, so I want to go on to some fun topic right now, and that is going to be celebrities and politicians that have used cannabis over the years. Some of these, some people might say abuse them. Some people that are on this list, personally, I don't even like. You may not either. And the point of this is just to show that, unlike alcohol, cannabis is used by many people, but it's still stigmatized in a lot of ways in a lot of states and throughout a lot of different social circles. So just highlighting here that all kinds of people are using cannabis at this point, and of course it's still stigmatized all over. I'm going to talk about celebrities and musicians first. You got Morgan Freeman, the guy that literally played God, right? He's definitely admitted to using cannabis to manage his pain from a car accident. Makes sense, right? You get pain, cannabis is known to help, and it definitely surpasses opiates. It's another thing cannabis can be used for in a California sober type environment is to replace the opioid with the cannabis. And for some people, cannabis is not an option. It cannot work for them. And that's fine. There's other alternative methods. If you're seeking a medicated approach, there's something called naltrexone, which personally, I have personal experience with, and it worked very well when I first came off of alcohol. So, and now, again, I'm not providing medical advice here. That worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody. In fact, I've had friends who tried naltrexone and it had negative effects. So, everybody's different. Consult your doctor and see what's up. Moving right along from Morgan Freeman, God, we've got Miley Cyrus. She's definitely spoken out about using cannabis. She's definitely a vocal advocate for it. So she's used it to cope with anxiety and trauma, much like I do. So, you know, CPTSD does have certain medications you can get through a psychiatrist or your doctor. And for me, those did have some very serious side effects. And cannabis has been the way to go for me. Snoop Dogg. Definitely the most famous. Probably not my favorite person right now. We won't get into that. But yeah, Snoop Dogg. Willie Nelson. Maybe we could flip that and say he's the most famous. Definitely a long-time cannabis advocate, user. And I mean, it's been well known for years. People have gone on tour with Willie that have never used cannabis before and left with a life-changing experience. Okay, so we've got Lady Gaga. She's admitted to using cannabis to manage her pain as well. It's common theme here. Seth Rogen. I mean, do I really need to say more about that? He's definitely known for his love of cannabis. Ties into his movies and everything. Chelsea Handler, comedian. Yeah, she said she uses it to help her creativity and relaxation. That makes sense. Woody Harrelson, longtime cannabis advocate. He's definitely been on the side of cannabis for a while. Oh yeah. Jennifer Aniston. That one surprised me. She just seems like the girl next door, like the goody two-shoes that wouldn't. And again, that ties into the stigma. I still myself have that thought in the back of my brain that somehow, someone like Jennifer Aniston or the next one, Martha Stewart, wouldn't use cannabis. But yeah, these people have and do use cannabis. So, in fact, Martha Stewart, what'd she do? She started a CBD product program. So there's that. Justin Timberlake. He says he's admitted to using it in his youth, but looking at photos of him lately, I'm not sure what it could be using. No judgment. Yeah, maybe he's just built that way. Zac Efron. He's spoken out about using it to unwind and relax, stuff like that, just keeping it chill like most people. Kathy Griffin definitely used it. Whoopi Goldberg, politicians and world leaders. And I'm not gonna comment on these people, and leave the comment section chill, no matter, who I mention here. Don't turn this into some kind of political debate. That's not what this channel's about. So, number 1 on the list, Barack Obama. He's definitely admitted to using it, and he said he inhaled frequently, and that was the point. I think that was a jab. We know that was a jab at Clinton there. Justin Trudeau, he legalized it in Canada, so you got that. Cory Booker, he's a U.S. senator, if you don't know. He's definitely been a vocal advocate for cannabis legalization and criminal justice reform, which is, I believe, also important. Bernie Sanders, yup. He's definitely called for the legalization of cannabis over and over again for, decades. Gavin Newsom. Arnold Schwarzenegger, believe it or not. Yep, he's definitely used it. He said he didn't enjoy it. I don't know. Bill Clinton. Yeah, he's the one. He famously said, "I didn't inhale." So, yeah. George W. Bush. He said he tried it in his youth. Did not lie about the inhaling. Not saying that Clinton was lying, but come on. Kamala Harris. Yeah, she. I guess she used it in college, and she definitely supports decriminalization. But I've seen her. I feel like there's flip flop there. I don't know. We won't get into that again. John F. Kennedy. It's rumored that he used it for chronic back pain. Vladimir Putin admitted to using it. Boris Johnson has admitted to trying it. Okay. Moving on to a more favorable section of society. Athletes. Michael Phelps. Yeah, that's pretty famous. He got caught for using it. He's got there was a picture of him using a vaporizer or something like that, and he had to apologize for it. Again, there goes the stigma. Sha'Carri Richardson. She got suspended from the Olympics after testing positive for cannabis. We got Rob Gronkowski, the NFL star, was partnered with CBD companies, and he advocates for use of cannabis in sports. And we got here Ricky Williams, former NFL player, is a well-known cannabis advocate, and he's got his own brand now, like many others, like Tommy Chong does. Nate Diaz, MMA fighter, has been open about it. Floyd Mayweather, definitely. I think he tied up with Tyson. So, and there's another one, Mike Tyson. Kevin Durant, NBA star. He supports it. He's got a cannabis startup, and he uses it for recovery, much like me. Some other honorable mentions are not. These are pretty big names. Carl Sagan, famous astronomer. He was a cannabis enthusiast, which I did not know until doing this research. He even wrote about its benefits under a pseudonym, so I'm going to have to look that up and find it. Steve Jobs. Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou. There's a very inspiring and inspirational person to me. She wrote about her experiences with cannabis in her autobiography, so that's cool. Some historical figures: Queen Victoria, William Shakespeare, and George Washington. So it's rumored that Queen Victoria, that her physician prescribed her cannabis for menstrual cramps. William Shakespeare, some scholars believe that cannabis residue found in his garden suggests he may have used it. And then the same with George Washington. He definitely grew hemp on his plantation, though it's unclear if he used it. Let's just throw in these last few people: Seth MacFarlane, Sarah Silverman, Tommy Chong, Wiz Khalifa, and Post Malone. I think all those are pretty well known. Just most of these people it's been well known that they've used cannabis. This is, this is supposed to be a comprehensive list, but it's really not. It goes way beyond this. This is people that we know that admit it. So yeah. The point of this video isn't to tell people, hey, these people are using cannabis, you should too. This is definitely a product or a chemical or a drug that is, for me, used medicinally, can be used recreationally and responsibly for some other people. But if you do find yourself in a situation where you're having problems with substances, my advice is not to just go out and grab a bag of weed and smoke that instead and think it's going to be all right. I tried that initially, and I ended up drinking and smoking, and and the alcohol being so terrible for me, it's not a good mix. It just makes it 10 times worse. So again, I started out with a pretty tragic thing that happened. So we won't go. That's another video. That'll be a huge disclaimer. It's a huge trigger warning type video, so we'll get into that later. After that thing, I was hospitalized, so I ended up on naltrexone, and that really did help me get through the first few months. And at this point in my life, I no longer need the naltrexone. I have switched over to the cannabis, and it is working well. If you find yourself that you're considering to stop drinking, or maybe you want to slow down, whatever it is, I encourage you to check out maybe a Smart Recovery meeting. They're online. If you can't find one locally in your area, if you just type in SMART on your Google search. In fact, I'll drop a link in the description below. You can find those meetings. There's also California sober groups if you're interested in starting up on that venture. But another one that I want to mention is the other thing that got me through this is therapy, extensive therapy. Treating CPTSD with alcohol obviously is not so. And so for some people, medications work. So listen to your doctors. Try out what work with them, and you'll find if the medications aren't working, or if you have adverse effects like I did. Something like cannabis may work for you. Something like naltrexone may work for you. So keep positive. We'll see you on the next one. And remember, everybody's recovery is different, and you're not alone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.